Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again to Insane Disappearances. I am doing a remake of this video because I really hated that video. It was long, it was drawn out, and it just didn't come out the way I wanted it. So I'm gonna redo it, and this is actually a much more compressed story about Keith Reinhard, and it should come out a lot better to where I can do more detailed theories on what could have happened to him. So I apologize for the long drawn out video, which really didn't make any sense. I kept thinking about it. I was like, you know what, this is not gonna go well. I can already tell. So like I said, I'm redoing it. Okay, now once again, this video is actually about Keith Reinhard, but before I get started on that, I just want to do a little shout out to a restaurant that I found out about right here in the A. Is called Tiki Cafe Hawaiian BBQ, and I would implore everyone to go to it. I'm going to put the address down below in the video description, and I am hoping that anyone that may be listening to my channel here in Georgia will see this video and will go to the video description below with the address on there, find it, and get some of the best Hawaiian food around. And I can guarantee you it is authentic as hell, okay? Because I've been to Hawaii 5 times, and that food is definitely good. My favorite is the local moco. They have a lot of other great dishes that they call plate lunch specials. So go there, enjoy yourself. It's really good. Okay, now and also YouTube has actually dismantled the video edit portion of YouTube, so I won't be able to do any more intros for my video. I would have to find an external site where I can edit it from there. But for now, I'm just going to do the videos without the intros in it. Okay, so I mean, it was fun while it lasted, but hey, what can I say? Nothing lasts forever, right? Okay, now this is a story that I found, which is short and sweet yet very detailed. It's called Something Lurking. This is about a young man, like from the last video, about a young man named Keith Reinhard, and it's titled "The Mysterious Disappearance of Keith Reinhard." Okay, so getting started on this one, it's okay. On a warm August afternoon, Keith Reinhard told local residents of Silver Plume that he was taking a hike into the mountains surrounding the town. He was never seen again. Now, what makes this case so intriguing is the events that led up to Keith's disappearance. Now, a few months prior, a young man named Tom Young owned a bookstore in Silver Plume, Colorado. One afternoon, he and his dog closed up the store and mysteriously vanished. A few months later, Keith opened up, his own shop in the same storefront. Now, he wanted to do like a little antique shop, but he realized that when he got there, the population was only like at 200, so it was a very small town. It was like one of those little ghost towns, like Tombstone. And even during the summer, people that came to that town still wasn't a lot. So his sales was very low, and he was already going through a midlife crisis. He wanted to actually come there to start anew and work on his book. He was writing a novel, and he was having a writer's block and some of everything else. So he was having somewhat of a midlife crisis. But anyway, now Keith was a sports writer for most of his career. He was entering his 50s, like I said before, and wanted to enjoy life. He set off to Silver Plume in hopes of a change with his wife of 2 years, and they also had children. I don't know how many. They didn't mention how many children they had. Now, he wanted to rid his fear of vertigo, write a book, and open up an antique shop, like I said before, in the same store front of Tom Young. And it was a typo. They put Tom Jones for some reason. I guess they were thinking about his song when he started writing this. But anyway, And when Tom Young disappeared, the townsfolk all had their opinions, but Keith had Keith had become obsessed with his disappearance. He decided to base his book he was writing on Tom Young himself. Now, local hunters later found the remains of Tom Young and his dog. Both were shot in the head. Now, the authorities called it a suicide, and Tom's case was closed. Now, see, the thing is, most people actually thought that maybe he was murdered, because it seems kind of far-fetched that he would just go out there and blow his brains out along with his dog. So I really don't know what could have happened with that. I wasn't when this happened. I was living in New Jersey, so I never even heard about this case. And plus, like I said, I was a kid, so I wasn't even really thinking about stuff like that back then. But anyway, let's see. Oh yeah. Now, a week later, Keith had told some friends of his that he was taking a hike into to the top of the mountains. This was proven to be no easy task. It had been far too late in the afternoon, to venture into the treacherous mountains. Cause see, he had told them it was around 4 or 4:30 when he went up into the mountains. Well, when he told his friends he was going up into the mountains. Now, first of all, it was a 6-hour hike. Number one, he wouldn't have got back until around 10 or 10:30 p.m. So who in their right mind would go at that time in the evening knowing it would take them 6 hours to get there and back? It would be 10 o'clock at night. You do not want to come down the mountains at night, because you're not going to see the treacherous terrain that's up in that area. You may stumble upon some jagged rocks and probably trip over something and probably bash your head into a spiked rock, or bash your head in with a boulder or whatever. You never know. But a lot of his friends thought that was the most craziest thing anyone could ever do, because they were saying to themselves, why would he go that late instead of going early in the morning, where he could have been back maybe around 4 if he went early in the morning. But that's not what happened. So now, this was proven to be no easy task. It had been far too late in the afternoon to venture into the treacherous mountains. At the time, Keith had only the clothes on his back and nothing more. He didn't have a backpack or food, and if he did have some food, it wasn't a lot. I don't even know if he even had water. So it was very sketchy about what he had, other than the fact that he had clothes on his back. And on that late August afternoon, Keith disappeared and hasn't been seen since. It's been about 22 years since anyone has seen him. There are a number of speculations concerning the disappearance of Keith Reinhard. One is the fact that he went up into the mountains and killed himself, which is highly likely because his friends and family said that he didn't even own a gun, or nobody saw him with a gun at the time. Well, what his friends and family was saying, that he was a very nice individual. He was a good husband to his wife and a father to his children. So the family and friends, said a lot of positive things about him, and he had his head together. He hit a little stump, in his life, but still, that didn't make him crazy enough to just say, I'm going to disappear, because, I, for one, would believe that he wouldn't just leave his family like that either, but, it is what it is, right? Okay, so, now, also, anything else, he wouldn't have done anything else to harm himself, which is one thing they also said. Secondly, some believe that he met his demise in the mountains that day and perished up there. Thirdly, some believe that both Tom and Keith were murdered for whatever the reason. Finally, some say he plotted his own disappearance. Now, other theories also came about that said that maybe, just maybe, Tom Young found something in the store that he wasn't supposed to find, and he may have had it with him when he went out there with his dog, and they followed him and they killed him and the dog. Now, maybe, just maybe, Keith may have found out about it during his research into his disappearance, and he met his demise the same way. They probably found out that he knew about it, and if he knew about it, they probably thought that he would have called the authorities. So they probably offed him too. But that is, like I said, that's also one of the theories. And they also say that maybe he actually met a female friend that he left his wife for and decided to run off with her, or that he just wanted to just get away from everything, because like I said, he was hitting hard times with them not having a lot of customers in his antique store. But like I said, a lot of that was still hearsay, and most of it was pretty much dismissed in his case. So now finally, some say he plotted his disappearance, and that would be because of the book. Most writers want to almost live the life of the character, kind of get a good feel of what the character was all about. Therefore, it would be more realistic if they was to play the part, in real time, kind of do some of the things that they did to get a good feel of what might have happened to that person. And some people would say that he got a little extreme with the research, on the character, dealing with what happened to Tom Young. So they probably thought that maybe he plotted the whole thing where he went out there just to see what it would be like for him to go and reenact what he did and just disappear, just to get a good idea, to have the perfect story. But, if anything, he took all the evidence with him as far as what could have happened to him, since he was never found. Now, this was a manhunt searching. There was a manhunt searching for Keith, but nothing ever turned out. The manhunt was eventually closed after a fatal helicopter accident, which resulted in the death of one of the searchers. Now, here's the crazy part. There are a certain amount or a certain number of helicopter crashes that happen with these very weird disappearance cases, that relate to the ones in, the missing 411 books. And David Paulides has mentioned that quite a few times, like the Jerry Adadero case. A helicopter was searching for his young son of 2 years old, and there was an actual helicopter crash that happened during the search for his little boy. And there was another one about a young woman who got lost in the mountains, and every time she tried to call 911, she got sent to some external company that was affiliated with 911, and it kept happening back to back until she finally got 911. So by the time they got out there to get her, they picked her up, but as soon as they got her, that helicopter crashed, and it killed her and everybody on the helicopter. So helicopters play a big part in a lot of these disappearances. It's very weird, but very true. Okay, now close friends and family discard the notion that Keith would, plot his own disappearance. He wrote letters to his friends and family just days prior to his disappearance, and seemed to be optimistic about himself and life. Like I said, he was having a midlife crisis, so he was probably, kind of opening up to his family and friends about all the stuff that he's been going through. And maybe they probably was thinking that maybe he was trying to, disappear off the face of the earth by killing himself, or maybe he was just gonna inadvertently just jump off a cliff. Maybe, who knows? But they did say that he did seem still together, but he was he was hitting hard times, which everybody does, right? But like I said, it's anybody's guess of what actually happened to him. Let's see. Okay, now he wasn't a man who would be known to just up and walk out on his family and friends. Because like I said, he had a wife of 2 years and children, plus like I said, his family and friends. Now they stick to the theory that he was perhaps murdered. but still there's no evidence to state that he actually was murdered. Okay, now I often find it hard to believe that someone can just disappear off the face of the earth and remain lost for years without anyone seeing or hearing from that person. I used to believe that, but now I'm starting to believe that there are some weird things going on out there, and I've mentioned this many a time on my channel. Now, I believe that he went up there and died that day in the harsh Colorado mountains. I believe due to the fact that one of the searchers was killed, the search was cut too short. And yeah, I believe that as well. Now, but if I'm wrong, then why would a man tell everyone he was going for a hike, then kill himself? Or why would somebody want him dead? There has never been any solid evidence pointing to these two theories. This is one case that certainly baffles the hell out of me. Now this is something that the person that put this information up there wrote. But see, me personally, I believe that there is something very, very weird going on here. Okay, now you look at all the facts. A young man named Tom Young, he actually owns a bookstore in the same exact storefront that Keith owned. Okay, first of all, he takes his dog, he closes up shop, he goes out there. Next thing you know, they find him, after the fact, with a bullet hole in his head and the dog's head. Now, if he had found something in the shop that somebody was hiding, because like I said, he rented the place out, so whoever was in that store before it was rented out by someone, they probably placed it there as and hid it there until they was able to come back for it. He found it by accident, and they found out that he had it. And yeah, I don't know, maybe he was trying to get away with the money or whatever it is he had, and they found him and they killed him, and they took whatever it is that he took from them. That's a theory that would explain why he had a bullet hole in his head as well as the dog. But I don't know. Obviously, it seems like a suicide, or it may be that as well. But see, with Keith, that is a whole different ballgame. The man was writing a book about this young man, Tom Young. Okay, so there's two theories in this conundrum of a case. He wanted to basically have the perfect novel to write, so he lived the life of this person. He studied him, who he was. He studied what he did. He studied the fact that he actually went out there and then never came back. So he wanted to reenact maybe what he did. He went out there, told everybody that he was gonna go for a hike. Okay, now to play the role, he probably told people that so he could create a scene for the book, just to get a good idea of what could have happened to him, and what he put together was theoretical at best, because he just vanished at the time when he found out about it. So he didn't know that they found his remains at that point, because I think he disappeared either during or after they found his remains. I'm not sure. But anyway, so that's one theory. But the other theory is the fact that he disappeared without a trace. I would believe that more than anything, because there's no evidence to state that he was killed. There was no evidence to state that he was that he met his demise in the mountains. And the fact that he also told his friends he was going into the mountains around 4:30, and knowing that it's a 6-hour hike there and back, why would he tell someone that? Why? Because there's a lot of cases in the Missing 411 books about people telling their friends and family these strange, stories about how they're gonna do this. They're gonna meet somebody somewhere, and all of a sudden they disappear. It's just the fact that they tell them what they're gonna do, and then all of a sudden, poof, they're gone, and there's no trace of them ever found. It kind of links you to the fact that something weird happened, even though they told him where it was going. But if you disappear off the face of the earth and there's no evidence of you even being in a park or in the mountains, what else could it be? I say wormholes or dimensional portals, where he was thrust into a world that he couldn't come back from, and I would imagine somebody worked with him and probably had to help him cope with the fact that he could never return home, because a wormhole or a dimensional portal is a one-way ticket unless you have the ability to, travel, travel from one dimension to another, at will. I don't know if anyone has that ability, but still, the fact that he just disappeared is one of the things that makes this story so strange, because nobody can figure out why he decided to go into the mountains. Nobody can figure out why he said he was going to go around 4 o'clock when he already knew it was too late for him to even try and get up there. Because they said that he trekked that, that hike a couple of times and turned back because it was a little too treacherous for him. I guess, he was a beginner, so naturally he did not have any expertise in the matter. Okay, he was a beginner in the hiking thing. I'm pretty sure he wanted to always hike, so he did it, but he was not an expert. So you would think he would have known that if you go during the evening at 4 o'clock or 4:30 and you're not going to be back by 10, you wanted to come back at 10 o'clock. So why would you say that? That makes no sense. It's almost as if somebody put that thought in his head for him to say that to his friends, or something coerced him to say that. An unseen force, maybe, an unseen entity. That's a possibility. Because why would a person tell his friends and family that? And they knew, he said, okay, you going up there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a 6-hour hike, because obviously people who have done it more times than they can count, probably since they were kids, knew that it would take you 6 hours to go up there. But he obviously didn't know, because he was not an avid hiker. I guess he just enjoyed the fact that he could hike. And so by him doing that, he goes into the mountains. Something out there took him to where he would disappear forever. 22 years he's been gone. 22. Okay? So what else would you think could make him disappear like that? Nothing logical. I can guarantee you that. Nothing logical. Because when it comes to, this is what I always say in most of my videos. When it comes to a case like this that has a weird question to be answered, you need a weird answer to answer the question. Okay? You cannot solve this with a logical answer, because this is not logical. Nothing about this is logical. I mean, how is it that a helicopter who's supposed to be flying out there to find this person ends up crashing? And it happens almost with every single case of someone that disappears in a national park, national forest, or even in the mountains. What made that darn helicopter crash? Whatever made that helicopter crash did not want that man to be found, or let alone the fact they did not want to be found out about. They were smart enough to make that happen before it got worse for them. So I don't know, but there's a lot of theories that you can toss around about this. A lot. But if you're too scared of the unknown, you're never going to figure it out. The unknown plays a very huge part in all of this. I tell you people this all the time. Do not fear the unknown, because it is a part of our reality. This right here, this reality that we are living in, it's not real. Because how can it be real when stuff like this is happening all the time? That makes me think that that is a part of a reality that we're not even aware of. Think about it. We're living in this here reality where we think all of that stuff that happens is just stories or fairy tale, folklore, a myth. Just like the chupacabra, Bigfoot, Mothman, the Jersey Devil, the Dog Man, all these creatures, these mythological creatures that we hear so much about, even werewolves. I've heard of stories that people have actually seen werewolves before. There's a picture that I showed at the beginning of my intro where you see this hairy looking upright walking, it looks like an upright walking dog with a long tail, walking in the street at night with a long snout. And this is on a CCTV camera. Now, I know there's a such thing as doctoring photos or, CGI, but I don't believe that to be true. Okay? I don't believe that somebody just put that there to make it look like he was walking in the street. Okay? Because it does look mighty real to me. Not somewhat. It does look real to me. And because I believe in the unknown, I believe that these creatures do exist. I mean, I just found out months ago that the dinosaurs have been recalculated as only being thousands of years old and not millions of years old. So that would make me think that the Earth alone is only a couple of thousand years old. How is it that dinosaurs who were supposed to have lived, millions of years ago are only thousands of years ago? So wouldn't that make the Earth alone only a couple of thousand years? I don't know. I'm just saying. It just came to me, at the top of my head. But I really do think this is a very weird case, and I think that we should definitely rethink the way we look at things as far as these cases. You can sit, like I said, you can sit there and come up with a logical reason why they disappeared or why they vanished. With him, they had a lot of theories, from infidelity to murder, over something that may have been found inside the shop that he wasn't supposed to find. And it's a possibility in a place like that, because they did that all the time. I'm pretty sure back in the days of old, with all the cowboys like Billy the Kid and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure they hid a lot of, loot in some of these stores underneath the floorboards. And when they knew it was time to come back to get it, they came back and got it and got rich off of it. But, like I said, that's just an educated guess. But, yeah, it's a very, 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 very strange case. And I believe to a fault that something weird happened to that man. Okay? And, most of the cases when people disappear like that, there's always that shtick about them being highly intelligent or them having a handicap. And depression, I would believe, would be a handicap. I would think. He's depressed. They use that to their advantage and say, okay, we'll make him disappear. And that's going to make everybody that he knows think that he committed suicide. Or he just wanted to get away from people and just never come back. What man do you know would just leave his entire family like that? I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but we're talking about deadbeat daddies who don't want to take care of their children. They're here, but they're not there with the kids, okay, or with the kid. So, I don't think that he deliberately just up and just left. He left behind a wife and children. I can understand if he didn't want his wife to go through all of that with him, because he the one that dragged her down there. She was a little skeptical about his venture to a place like that, but she followed by her man and her husband. She backed him up. So, that's good. But when he got there, things weren't what he thought it was going to be, because business was slow. There weren't a lot of customers coming into the store. It's an antique shop. So not everybody likes antique goods. They really don't. I don't like antique goods, because you're going to buy something that may have an attachment to it. And I don't mean like rust or moss. I'm talking like paranormal. You may bring ghosts into your home. So I would never buy antique stuff like that. Because I can't remember the name of that TV show, but it was based on him coming in. They call him the Collector. If that was the name of the show, The Collector, I think. Yeah. And he went around to all these different places collecting, very old artifacts that may be, tainted with ghosts or spirits, And so he gets rid of the merchandise or whatever, and they're home free. So, like I said, there's a lot of weird things going on with this case. There's a lot of weird things going on with a lot of these cases. And that is what I am here for. I am here to get the word out, to tell the truth. Okay? So, you guys have nothing to fear. Every single video that I put out is going to be all about the truth. And if I add my own little theories, the only reason why is because I think outside the box. I look at the case. I look at the evidence. I look at the facts. I look at the criteria that surround the case. And all of that stuff tells you a story that you would never believe at first because it makes no sense. How can a person be dead near a body of water and be bone dry with clean socks? And the body's pristine. The body's face up 90% of the time, or face down 90% of the time, depending on the gender. Or even, like I said, if it's out of the water and on land, they're gonna find the body face up. Now in the water, they're either gonna be face up or face down due to the buoyancy of the body, and that's between a man and a woman. So, and then you got all these cases where you find shoes in places where they shouldn't be, but you don't find the people. And then you find the people that turn up dead, but you don't find the shoes. Why would you take the shoes unless you were trying to make sure that the person doesn't get away? I would think that would be the logical reason why, but it's never been determined because they can't find the shoes, they can't find a person that may have done it. So, and then you have the infamous, you go into a bar with your friends. You're in college, and you just may have a German background, or you may be of like I said, German descent or whatever. These same people tend to somehow disappear while they're in the club. Nobody ever sees them leave. Nobody ever sees them do whatever. Now there's foul footage of stuff like this happening where they're in the club in a crowd. Nobody's seen this dude or this female. He just up and vanishes. Like the case that I read about not too long ago. And he was in the club. They had foul footage of him standing outside the door talking to these two young women. And he goes back inside. And then after that, he was gone. And nobody knows how he even got out of the place because he didn't come through the front. So, and then he couldn't go through the back because there was some construction going on back there, and he definitely probably wouldn't have been able to get through even if he was sober. So they said that he was drinking, but crazy stuff. But as far as Keith Reinhard, there's a lot of speculation with his disappearance. Did he, in fact, become obsessed with this young man's case? Did he, in fact, plan the entire thing so that he could write the perfect novel, like a Stephen King novel or something like that? I don't know. He could have done it, but it doesn't still explain how he was able to just vanish without a trace, with no evidence of him even being in the mountains, because he didn't have a backpack. He just had the clothes on his back. They didn't find his shoes, they didn't find his pants, they didn't find nothing. And I would think that somehow people start taking their clothes off while they're out there, because they get hot or they get cold. Well, they wouldn't keep them. They would keep them on if they were cold, of course. But still, like I said, none of this makes any sense. But I'm gonna get off of here. It's getting late. I'm getting a little sleepy. So I want to thank you guys for coming out, and I apologize for that long, drawn out, video. Even I didn't like it, so that's why I'm doing this again. So like I said, once again, I apologize. And if anyone didn't like it, I'm redoing this one. It's short and sweet, yet it still gives me a chance to add my own theories to the mix, so that we can so we can still try to figure this out. So I just want to say once again, thank you for coming out. And all you got to do is type in either the name of the restaurant I told you about, which is the Tiki Cafe Hawaiian BBQ, or just say Hawaiian restaurants for your area. It'll say Hawaiian restaurants near me, and you'll get a chance to see if you got one near you. One person actually said, "Is there one in North Carolina?" All you got to do is just type it in and make sure that you check it out. It'll have the address and the phone number, and I guarantee you are going to love it. I have been to Hawaii 5 times, and every single time when I went to the Tiki's restaurant, which is a lot bigger and it's an open air restaurant, they have some of the best food, and the drinks are out of this world. I mean, just be good. I was glad that I was walking. I didn't have to worry about, trying to drive back to my hotel, which was really in walking distance. So I didn't really need a car. But my point is, I was glad I was walking, because if I drank all that stuff, I would have been a little sloshy, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, they have some of the best food, and when you find it, try the local moco. It is so good. That's LOCOMOCO. Okay, local moco. You know what it is a bowl of steamed white rice smothered in onions and hamburger gravy. Now, the traditional way would be a 1 pound hamburger that they place on top of the rice, but now they do like 2 little thin burgers that go on top of it, along with more gravy, and then they top that off with a fried egg. Now, if you like sunny side up, then of course you can order it like that, because normally that's how they cook it. Or if you like, eggs fried hard, they'll put that up there too, and they'll cover that with gravy. And they'll have like a little, because they give you this like little styrofoam plates, or containers, and they have the big compartment here and the 2 small ones in the back. So you got your rice here, and you got your macaroni salad here, and they have some of the best Hawaiian fruit drinks in there. They're very tasty. I like the pog juice. If you ever been to Hawaii and saw pog juice, which is like either pineapple, orange, and guava, or papaya, orange, and guava. Very tasty. I drank it every single day. I loved it. So anyway, I'm gonna get off of here, guys. So I really do once again apologize for that video, because I really hated it. I was just tossing. Should I get rid of it? Yes, I should have. And that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll replace it with this one. It's short and sweet and to the point. Yet still very detailed. And I did add some things. I did add some information that I got from the last story that I read on this one, which was very good. I correlated it with what I'm talking about on this video. It's the same thing, but still, it didn't mention what I talked about in my last video in that information. So, but yeah, like I said, I will see you guys later. You know how I do it in every video. Aloha, mahalo, and a hui ho. Peace out, guys.